Hello everyone, it is Friday, and Friday means we get to talk about new products. We're going to talk about a few of the new products we have for this week, so stay tuned and see what we've got. First up, we've got another servo motor. This one's a little bit different. This is not from high-tech. This is just a generic servo, as we're calling them. This is a standard frame size servo. It's not waterproof. It doesn't have metal gears. It just has plastic gears. And this actually replaces our previous large servo. We had to retire it because we couldn't find them anymore. Our supplier stopped talking to us, which was really sad, and we had to find a new supplier. And it produces about 69 ounce-inches worth of torque at 4.8 volts and 83 ounce-inches worth of torque at 6 volts. So there is your little control board right there, goes down to the potentiometer, which is hidden underneath there. And we've got a motor. And if we pop off the top, you can see all plastic gears. And if you look here, we actually do have some ball bearings on the output shaft, so that is pretty nice. And of course, no servo is complete without the little package of accessories. So we've got a few different horns to choose from. There you go. And then we have 4 of these little rubber guys. They actually press fit into the edge of the motor like that. They give you a nice little kind of shock mount. A couple other little screws and then a couple other attachment points for the horns. One of the popular things that people like to do with some of the more inexpensive servos is actually convert these over to full rotation or 360 degree, however you want to say it. With a plastic gear, it's actually sometimes a little bit easier because we've just got this little notch right here, which is the only physical stop that we have that stops this turning 180 degrees. So if you were just to take a hobby knife and just slice that off, this motor would turn indefinitely. Now the downside to that is the potentiometer would freak out, it wouldn't know where you're positioned, so you'd have to remove the potentiometer and then you just have a full spinning motor at that point. But there is some advantage to having that. Some people like the form factor because of the mounts and everything that you have with this. So there is a reason to do it. If you have like a little motorized cart and you had like 4 servos, 1 on each wheel, you can get some nice control out of it, but that's just something to think about. So if you're looking for an inexpensive servo that has a decent amount of torque, check out the new large servo. Next up, we've got 2 new Arduino books to talk about. One's not exactly new. One is the actual SAK guide that goes with the SparkFun Inventors Kit, and the other is this Arduino Workshop book that comes from No Starch Press. First, I'm going to talk about the SAK guide because although this guide does come with the SparkFun Inventors Kit, it's a really good guide to the basic understandings of how Arduino works and getting your feet wet and getting started with Arduino. It's obviously not as comprehensive as something like this, but if you're looking to just learn how to install the IDE, what the IDE is, what Arduino is, what microcontrollers are, and get a couple example projects under your belt, the SIK is a great guide that's a lot smaller, a lot quicker to go through, and this guide is just a lot more easily digestible than a big book like this. So we see it broken up into the getting started and then the actual circuits. This book actually covers 15 different circuits, anything from LEDs, driving a basic motor to a character display, things like that. The getting started guide is going to tell you what is an Arduino, what do these things do, what are they used for, and then you're going to go into every step to installing it, how to connect it up, what the actual IDE or programming interface looks like, and then it's going to run you through how to get the example code, how to download that, and then you're going to dump directly into your first circuit. And if you see, it really clearly outlines everything that comes in the kit and shows you where all the pins are. And if we actually look at the first circuit here, it has a nice layout of what parts you're going to need, where they connect, and then a visual diagram of how everything connects. So this is really made to be the absolute beginner's introduction to Arduino. So let's say you already have a good familiarity with Arduino or other development tools like that, and you're wanting to go a little bit further than that. We carry a lot of Arduino books at SparkFun, and there are tons of books out there for Arduino. I think I review somewhere around 1 book a week for Arduino, and everyone's writing one. We are pretty selective about what we end up carrying, and this is our newest book. This is the Arduino Workshop. I particularly liked this book because it has a lot more examples and it has a lot more kind of hands-on projects, just like the title says there, than some of the other books. Some of the other books will go much more into the code and the technical details, but they won't really show you anything to make. So they'll explain an array, but they won't really tell you what to do with it or what to use this new knowledge with. This book is really good because it's very centered around the actual project. So similarly to the SIK, it's much more oriented around what you're building and how to do that thing. The book is pretty extensive. It starts pretty much where the SIK guide starts out with what is Arduino, how to install it, all that good stuff. But then we go into certain things like numbers, variables, and arithmetic. If you're starting out with programming, you might not understand that there's an integer which holds a certain set of values, but then there's a long, there's a Boolean, and other different variable types that are used for different purposes. So if you're just using like a yes or no type statement, you can do a Boolean. If you're doing really long numbers, like if you're doing things with GPS, you might need a different type of variable. So this book addresses that, and it goes into some of the more complex details that go along with more complex programming, whereas of course the SIK guide just tries to get your feet wet into it. So I would definitely recommend, if you're looking to have a comprehensive guide to Arduino, check out the Arduino Workshop, or I also like Practical Arduino, which is another book that we carry. Books are a great resource. We use them constantly just as a reference material. So if you're looking to get into Arduino, check out either one of these books. There you have it. We've got a couple books, and we've got, yet again, another servo motor for you. So we've got some more products on the website, so go ahead and check that out, and we'll see you again next week with even more new products.